here on my channel. Now in this video I will be going through Fulham, how they play, players to target, their tactics and their first 6 fixtures of the season. Now if you like today's video, please do consider liking and subscribing, help me grow the community. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So Fulham's manager is Marco Silva. He has managed teams like Hull City, Watford and Everton. He likes to play attacking football and likes to keep possession, and he has a 58% win percentage at Fulham. Now how do Fulham play? They do set up in a 4-3-3 formation, which kind of looks like a 4-2-3-1, with the focus being attacking football, and they like to keep possession, and last season they kept about 60% possession per game on average. The photo that you see here that I took from dfscout.com, check that out. It shows the expected lineup from Fulham this season. Now they have added some players and they probably will add more players to this team, like Andres Pereira is there now. He might go into the starting lineup, so don't take it too seriously, but this is just to give you an idea of how they would line up, how it looks. But now without further ado, let's get into some tactics. So Fulham like to set up in a 4-3-3 formation, and when they're trying to build up play, they like to stay wide and stretch the play. This creates gaps to play through. So when they're trying to play out from the back, they will pass the ball here to Tosin, who'll pass to Tede, who is staying wide. Reed will come near him and try and help him, and they'll play a 1-2 where Tede will make the run. He'll receive the ball again, and then he'll do exactly the same for Wilson. Keep the run going, pass through until they make it all the way up. Now if this doesn't work, they can always play the ball back to Tosin, and because the play has been on this side, it draws the opponent in who's trying to press them, and they can switch play very easily with a long pass to Cabano, who has stayed wide on the other side. Now in this system they try and create overloads, so Robinson will help him and they'll advance on the fullback 2 against 1. Now the reason they want to play a 4-3-3 is because it's easy to create diamonds and triangles. For example, if they play the ball to Tosin, he has the option to play the ball to Tede, who can play him to Wilson, who can play him to Reed, who can play it to Carvalho. They have the options, while 4-4-2 would be flat and it would be very difficult to keep possession and forming the triangles and the diamonds. Now if this doesn't work, they always have the plan B, and the plan B is basically Rodak to play the ball long to Mitrovic, who's very physical, and he'll keep the ball until he can pass it to Carvalho, Cabano or Wilson. Now when Fulham have possession, each player is given a specific function within the system, and their positioning on the field changes depending on which side the ball is on. So for example, Robinson and Tede, if the ball is on the left side, let's say it's played to Cabano, Robinson will advance, Reem will cut in, Tosin will cut in, and Tede will cut in, creating a back 3. So they always have 3 at the back against either a 2-man press or a 3-man press, so they're never outnumbered in defense. And if we go on the other side, Wilson has the ball, then Teddy will advance, Robinson will be back, Tosin cuts in, Reem cuts in, Robinson cuts in, again a back 3 to protect the goal. Now they always want to keep numerical superiority, and now what numerical superiority is just if there's a 3v2, it's in your favor, it's not against you. So they'll always have 2v1s, they're always trying to create 3v2s and keeping the ball in that way and threatening the other team. Now another way Fulham can build up is if Reed or Tierney fall between the centre backs, it allows Tede and Robinson to advance while Cabano and Wilson invert, allowing Tede and Robinson to occupy the wide areas. So what happens when Cabano and Wilson invert is that the opposition has to close up the midfield and the middle of the park, so they kind of just fall together, leaving a lot more space for Fulham to exploit on the wings. Like in this scenario, Tede has the ball now and he has a lot of space. Even the fullback, when he's making the run, Tede can just swing the ball in to Mitrovic. Now if we look at this in more advanced fashion, it would be near the box like this. Everyone's near the box, they're inverted, and Carvalho and Tierney operate here, while Reed, Reem and Tosin are here. So what will happen is the defenders fall in like this, the midfielders will fall in as well, and this will allow Fulham to have a lot more time on the ball, a lot more space to play around. Now if Fulham were to lose the ball here, what will happen is they'll counter press, and this is the reason they have a very high line. They have everyone very high up the pitch on the opponent's half, so that if they lose the ball, the opponent doesn't have a lot of time, so they can just narrow them down with a little gegenpressing and close down the opposition on the ball and win the ball back. So their center backs are basically playing so high that they're basically center defensive midfielders, and if a striker gets the ball, they'll advance on him and try and win the ball back. Now the problem here is that they're very susceptible to counterattacks. So when they're defending, they defend with zonal man marking. Players pick a zone to defend and man mark each player who enters their space. So let's say the striker enters Reem's space. Reem has the responsibility to advance on the striker and make sure he doesn't get the ball. So if he advances into his space, Ream has to win the ball himself away from him. Same with Tierney if he advances into his space. Now Fulham like to dominate possession, and it's going to be very difficult for them to play this exact style in the Premier League. If they try to do it, it might backfire greatly, but this is how they played in the Championship. It'll be interesting to see how they play in the Premier League. So defenders to target, Anthony Robinson kind of stands out for 4.5 million. 36 matches played last season, 33 starts, 2 goals and 4 assists with a 0.18 xGA per 90. I mean, it's decent value. He is a fullback for them. You could also go for the other fullback, Tede, or whoever starts there. But Anthony Robinson has been a figure in this side for a long time. Now his competition might be Brian, but I think Anthony Robinson should be pretty nailed in that side. And you could go for him for 4.5 million, but honestly, I don't think we're going for him. The other player to go for might be Tosin Adarabioyo for 4.5 million. I think 41 matches played, 41 starts. He's nailed in this side, 2 goals, 2 assists, so he has some aerial threat. 0.10 xGA per 90. I mean, we're not really here to talk about their defense. We're here to talk about their attack. Now, attackers to target, Alexander Mitrovic, 6.5 million. He is the obvious one to go for if you're going for a Fulham attacker. He has 43 goals and 7 assists in those 44 matches. That is insane. And he has 1.04 xGA per 90. Now, naturally, that will drop in the Premier League, but I think that's pretty good. Another one you could go for is Harry Wilson, 6 million. He is a midfielder. 41 matches played last season, started 40 of them. 10 goals, 19 assists, 0.75 xGA per 90. I mean, he is a really good midfielder. And again, you could go for him. He is influential in how they play, especially now that Carvalho's gone to Liverpool. He might actually have a bigger role to play. Now, Andres Pereira, 4.5 million, our budget enabler in midfield. 13 matches played, 9 starts for Flamengo last season, 2 goals and 1 assist, 0.34 xGA per 90. Now this is of course in the Brazilian league where he was on loan last season. He is now in the Premier League again for Fulham, where I expect him to have a more starring role. I think you could go for him. He could be your budget enabler. But again, you're probably going to want to go for Harry Wilson, Alexander Mitrovic, although Andres Pereira is selected in 23% of teams in Fantasy Premier League right now. Now we get into their fixtures. They do have Liverpool, Wolves, Brentford, Arsenal, Brighton and Tottenham in the first 6 games. Now I expect Liverpool to be the most difficult one. Arsenal and Tottenham are very tricky, but Wolves, Brentford and Brighton might be something you might want to target. Might want to look into that. But I do think Fulham are a bit of a wait and see. Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham are real difficult tasks. Wolves, Brentford, Brighton, those are games you can actually look at them. Like look at Mitrovic, look at Wilson, look at their defense. How are they lining up? What are they doing? Are they actual options? I mean, that's where we'll find out. So I think we just give them a wait and see. You could go for Mitrovic from day one, but I would probably just wait and see. Hope he drops a little bit in price and pick him up after those first 6 games. Now that's going to do it for the video, guys. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing. Help me grow this channel. I will see you next time. Goodbye.